Chris, how can I think like a developer? How can I think like a coder? How can I rewire my brain to think like those brilliant hackers? Is it something that you're born with? Am I smart enough? This whole how to think like a programmer, hacker, developer, coder, whatever we want to call ourselves, we literally have so many names I can't keep track. It's something I absolutely despise in the technology world. It makes coders and developers sound like they're really full of themselves and they think they're smarter than everyone else. Their brain doesn't work the same as everyone else. And yeah, some of the programmers might be like that and their brains do actually work different than everybody else's, but most of the time these are learned skills. It's not like you're born with it. You don't just get a key and it unlocks the kingdom and it's an overnight thing either. This is a skill that you can work on and you can develop, and it's something that we're going to talk about. How do you program? How did you get to the point you're at? Can I get there? Actually, it's something that you're born with, and no, your brain's not going to work the same as mine. I'm gifted. I feel like that's actually a thought that people have in the programming industry too. So let's get rid of that. Let's just throw it away. Ain't no keys to the kingdom. Ain't no overnight thing. It's a skill you can work on. It's a skill you can get better at. Let's get into it. Yo, what's going on, guys? Chris here. If you're new, consider subscribing. I mean, it's literally been like 30 seconds. I'm actually pretty surprised you haven't subscribed yet. Alright, today I'm going to go over some tips on how you can rewire your brain and stuff you can start working on today to get you to think like a coder, programmer, developer, whatever term you want to use. Let's get you those skills that's going to make approaching problems easier and breaking down problems something that is a lot less scary than it currently is. So when I first started coding, I watched so many videos just like this one, and I thought that there was some key to unlock the kingdom and unlock my brain on how to think like a programmer, or I just didn't have it and I wasn't going to make it in the programming world. But as I practiced my skills and actually started making projects, working on algorithm problems, I realized that mindset just comes from practice, just like most things in life. How about that? Thinking like a programmer is something that can actually transfer to the rest of your life as well, and it does actually help you approach all types of problems. And speaking of problems, the first tip I have for you guys is when you are looking at a problem, a lot of people start working on the problem, coding a project, without even understanding the problem first. How absurd is that? Trying to work on a problem you don't even understand yet. This seems like such a basic tip, but I actually see this all the time. People will either start projects without actually knowing the full extent of their project and what they want their project to accomplish or what they're trying to accomplish with their project. They just start coding just to code, and that actually leads to so many bugs and errors down the road. You really want to avoid that. It can save you a ton of time and a ton of headache. People will go into interviews and the interviewer will give them a problem for their algorithm and they'll instantly start coding on it. They won't ask their interview about edge cases. They won't ask their interviewer anything in depth about the question. Come on, man. We're not amateurs here. We're programmers. Whatever that means. We need to take the full problem and understand it. We'll call that our A. You get your A. We want to get to Z because that's the end of the problem. But first, you have to know your A before you can start and get to Z. Like, people will skip over the A and go from B to Z. Not really how it works. You're not going to be able to get the B to Z without the A. And that brings me to my next point and my next tip. You actually need to plan out your projects. You need to know where your project or your problem is headed, because we want to go from A and we want to get to Z. But if you just have an A and you start working, how do you know when to stop? How do you know when you reach your Z? If you take your project or your problem and you write down simple steps on how you can achieve that, or the steps you need to take to complete that, that's going to get you your Z, and you're actually going to know how to get there. So say, for example, you have goals in your life. One of your goals is maybe working out. You start working out without an end goal in mind. You're probably going to quit. You don't know when you're going to stop. You don't know when you've gotten to your point where you can set new goals. How do you know what you're even working for? That's the same thing with problems, projects, algorithms. If you don't know what you're working for, you're probably going to give up. It's going to get tough. You're going to get a lot of bugs. You're going to get really frustrated. We don't want that to happen. We want to go from A to Z, but you need to know your Z first. It's absolutely absurd. All right, now we got our A and we got our Z. Those are our homies. We got to break the problem down one step at a time. When you listed your project out and the steps that you needed to take, let's tackle some of those steps. If the project seems really big, oh my gosh, and overwhelming, let's just take a smaller piece of that you know you can solve for sure and just tackle that. A good way to also do this is, if you see a problem, try to solve it in plain English first. And I had a lot of confusion doing this until I read somebody said just do it how you would do it without any code. Take code out of the solution. So for example, if I am given a list of numbers that's unsorted, they're not in any order, and I have to find a certain number and I'm given that number that I have to find, the way I would do it without code, I would look through every single number until I found the number. Oh wait, I know how to do that in code. All I do is loop through the array until I find the number. Then boom, that's my number. That's where it's at in the array. Okay, now I just found my naive, my easy solution, and what you'd want to do is build on top of that. So you get these smaller steps out of the way, and then you add on top of those instead of just trying to tackle the whole problem at once. That's like trying to eat an entire pizza in one bite. I wish I could do that. But tackling it down and breaking it into smaller pieces that you know you for sure can solve, and looking at the problem without code, that's gonna lead you to some success, and at least you're gonna get somewhere, rather than just mindlessly coding for no reason, no journey. You don't even know where you're going. It's just like in sports. They say, don't just think all the way down the road to the championship. Take it one game at a time, and then you'll get there. You gotta focus on the next game, the next game, the next game. You don't focus on all of them at once. I mean, most of you guys watching this probably don't even play sports. We're developers. We don't do that kind of thing. We're not athletic. So now that you've broken down into all these steps and you've tackled the smaller pieces and you've built on top, we got a Lego set. Let's build the Lego set. Because imagine trying to build a Lego set without the right pieces. You don't even know what pieces you need because you don't have the instruction manual. It's not going to turn out the way the picture has because that's all you have. You need to have all the Lego pieces and you need to have the instructions on how to get there. That's going to be all of your steps, and you need to have your A and your Z. You need to know your beginning point and your end point and how you're going to reach that. See, all of this programmer thinking like a coder, it literally is breaking down a problem and just making it easy. The whole idea that programming's hard, it's not. Don't know anybody said that. Now we can take all of these tips, you can internalize them, lock them away, start using them, start rewiring your brain. If you take all these tips and start using them today on your projects, your problems, the way you approach problems in coding and in life is gonna make your life a lot simpler. You're not gonna run into as many bugs, you're not gonna run into many roadblocks, you're just gonna get through it because you know what steps you have to take, you know what's coming, and you know the end result, and you know how you're gonna get there. Without all that stuff, you're following a yellow brick road to where? I don't know. Let's just go for a drive and see where we end up. So the main thing that got me to think like a programmer is practice. Now, I didn't give you a key, but you can implement these tips today, and it will start already rewiring your brain to think that way when you approach any problem. All right, that's kind of all I got for you guys today. But if you did enjoy this video and you're feeling like Hulk, smash that like button and subscribe to never miss any of my content. Or I'm gonna be kind of mad. For real. All right, until next time, guys.